What up, people? Welcome to another episode of the Real Power is People podcast. I'm your host, Tay, and this show is going to be about killing the ego. If you're a regular listener, you already know I have a penchant for discussing issues concerning the mind and behavior. I have been a mental health professional for nearly 20 years. But you may be saying to yourself, why does this guy keep beating a dead horse? I know he's a sexy, tall, dark, handsome, smart motherfucker, but can't he talk about drill rapper beef or how Western women need to submit and give nice guys all the pussy for once? And I gotta say, no. Journey somewhere deeper with your boy. First off, let's define ego. From vocabulary.com, your ego is your conscious mind, the part of your identity that you consider yourself. If you say someone has a big ego, you are saying he is too full of himself. I would surmise that 90% of conflict is ego driven. That's my number one reason for addressing it. My other main reason is because many people have poor self image. So the ego encourages self pity and unnecessary victimhood. In a past podcast entitled Conceit versus Arrogance, I mentioned that killing the ego was a part of my personal evolution in creating a healthy version of arrogance within myself. But I talked about attributes without talking about the process of actually breaking the ego apart. I'm not talking about the ego death people experience when they take psychedelics. I mean a conscious effort requiring no substances. Outcome being, you can successfully wield your ego as a tool. I know people would want to see my results, kind of like an individual that professes to be a fitness guru. You want to see his abs, calves, and supplements. I mean, quads. Also, there's no organizational body to verify that I know what I'm talking about. You have to listen and implement the tips for yourself. Since taking control of my ego some time ago, my need to be right went out the window. I quit taking people's opinions to heart, even if they were insults. I don't respond to everything people say, nor personalize it. I also quit feeling threatened by other people's success and by my own failures. Most things I'd argue about or hold grudges about lost their significance on me emotionally. And at a deep level, I stopped thinking that I'm here just for me. I'm here to serve whatever purpose the universe put me here for, which I generally see as being an agent of truth, freedom, love, and creativity. So I want to check out a list that I thought was decent from inside excuse me, insideoutmastery.com. It's called Seven Kind Ways to Kill Your Ego. Author is Mick. Afterwards, I'll throw in my own list of ways to effectively master your ego. All right, from this article, number one, take responsibility. Focus on what you can change. Two, stop beating yourself up. Mistakes happen, just do your best. Three, focus on growth. Do the work, and results will follow. Number four, take care of yourself. Allow yourself to rest and enjoy life. Number five, don't speak badly about yourself. Unconsciously, your brain registers everything you say. Six, show kindness to others. This can help with self esteem. Seven, don't value other people's opinions, good or bad. The goal is not to be motivated by external validation because when it's not present, you won't perform. I'll circle around to some of that later. All right, now I want to share my bullet points. From what I can remember, I only challenged my self perception when I started reading an individual named Osho, in like 2004. I'm getting old. He has innumerable timeless quotes. Number one, Osho said, don't fight with the ego. On my journey, I never did. I can remember his books instructing to watch the ego, the emotions, and become an observer. So I'd observe without acting. Then I'd think, if I was offended in a situation, why? I'd ask myself if it mattered, if I was exaggerating. Did my feelings have merit, or was I making this all about me? My conclusion is that most of what comes out of folks' mouths is about themselves. The psychological term is called projecting, even if what they're saying is positive or indifferent. In the end, there was nothing and no one to fight per se, only to exercise patience and critical thinking. Number two, I stripped my ego of roles society gave to it. Feeling identified with things like race, nationality, job, career, marital status, social status, um, who you are in your family, son, brother, father, ugly, handsome. I think you get the gist. If you think deeply enough, you can explain away all of it. And when I did, it didn't leave me empty. It left me feeling liberated. Let's go through a few examples. Race. Whilst there are differences, it's a concept. People assign words and attach stereotypes to this concept for every type of person to create categories and false hierarchies. Nationality. Nationality is silly because we can't really own the land. In reality, we only occupy it. That's largely a function of government to own the land. Other than physical separation denoted by our oceans, there's no separation of the land between states or countries like maps illustrate. We should honestly be able to travel this great planet freely, but ego. Then, my job. It's just a job. It's not who I am. It's not like I'm a janitor, police officer, computer programmer, and that's my identity. It's literally just something I do for money. Third, practice humility. The world does not care about you nor what you think. When we die and the people that knew us die, the record of our existence will essentially be lost and forgotten. I swear, I'm not trying to push you towards nihilism, though I've been there too. We need to listen before we speak. We need to listen to our elders because they've been doing this life thing longer. If someone is an expert in something, no matter how confident or arrogant you are, it won't grant you any expertise. I've been overzealous about things I thought was correct when they weren't. I look back and I can chuckle at the foolish ideas I used to have in my head. Fourth, we are here temporarily. There's no time to not experience life. No one cares if you can't dance. Go fucking dance if you want to. You want to talk to that sexy girl or that attractive guy? Go do it because why die with the regret of not doing something which is trivial? Almost everything we fear is minuscule in the grand scheme of things. Rejection hurts. So what? Because on the flip side, you may end up building a family and fulfilling life with that person. Ever ever heard the Ghostface Killer song one? You only need one lover to reciprocate your feelings. One time for someone to say, yes, we want to hire you at your dream job. The rejections are numerous, but only your ego is counting. Let's be pragmatic and tell the ego to sit in the back seat and shut the fuck up. Fifth and finally, becoming more forgiving, which involved me coming to terms with my own faults. Because relationship is essentially a mirror. When my marriage dissolved, I feel like that taught me a major lesson in taming the ego. And this was probably 2016, 2017, 10 years after I initially delved into the topic. My road to divorce was particularly hard, and I think it tested my resolve. You know how you think you have mastered some part of life, but then life gives you a pop quiz just to see if you really learned the lesson. This was one of those. I was on the brink of divorce. My father had just passed. It was a lot to deal with mentally and emotionally, but I grew immensely. And in forgiving, you learn to put yourself aside. You learn that you may have hurt others more than you realize. You learn that others have faults. The things they do are not always malicious. You learn to accept certain things quickly and to do away with holding grudges. As ridiculously redundant as it sounds, people are human. Honorable mention: get into self improvement. It's a lifelong journey that will undoubtedly humble you. For me, Taming the Ego was a vital step to building genuine confidence, even though it may sound counterintuitive. I sincerely hope this was a helpful video to somebody out there. This has been the Real Power is People podcast, and your boy Tay. Peace.